Joining us now with the administration side of the story, Labor Secretary Hilda Solis. She is here in Washington with me. Secretary Solis, thanks so much for being with us. I wanted to ask you the question maybe in a different way. An analysis of a guest we're going to have later on in our program, Jim Paulson from Wells Capital, says this is actually the strongest recovery we've seen in a quarter century in this country. After the recession in 1991, it took a year to create jobs on a steady basis. After the recession in 2000, it took 21 months to create jobs on a steady basis. Here we are 6 months in, and we have created more than 500,000 jobs. Certainly not as many as anybody would have thought. But is it time to try to shift this and say we're moving in the right direction, and instead of throwing more money at the problem, we're going to wait and see if these optimistic companies out there start hiring?
Well, Aaron, I think you're right. We've actually added about 630,000 jobs since we started it this year alone. And I want to show you this very interesting chart because when we talk about the recovery, we tend to forget that there are some increases in the manufacturing area, which is a strong indicator, I believe. Even though this is a steady growth, you can see where we were just a couple of quarters ago, and now we're adding jobs in the manufacturing sector. And you and I know that there was a tremendous effort made to help the automobile recovery and make sure that we created good American jobs. Well, we've added about 55,000 jobs there. We know people are buying more American-based cars, and we know that there's continues to see an increase in areas like healthcare and in transportation. So those indicators to me tell me that the foundation that we're starting off on is a little bit more steady, even though we know that the unemployment rate still remains high, and this isn't nearly enough what we need to do. And we do have to encourage businesses to start spending. I think they're a bit reluctant, but we have some good incentives for them to hire up people, like the Hire Act, where you give $5,000 tax credit to a small business owner to bring somebody on board.
So why then do we continue to hear, I mean, there's one argument, but then we hear Nancy Pelosi saying she's going to bring back Congress to vote on another $26 billion in aid for the states. You know, it seems like every month we're spending another 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 billion on additional aid. Money just continues to go out.
Aaron, you have to remember that many of our state and local governments have been hard hit too because they've not been able to collect revenue from businesses who normally would be paying taxes. Since business in some areas has been stagnant, those revenues haven't come in. So obviously there would have been even more layoffs in government, local government, teaching, firefighters and police officers had we not provided that stimulus originally. This, I think, is just another stopgap to help. I would hope the Congress and the Senate come back in September and do the right thing. Keep in mind, we need teachers to educate our young people. Otherwise, we're going to lose our competitive edge. I need to have people out there helping us retraining our workforce, so we do need to have these teachers out there.
Ms. Solis, how do you explain that the Obama administration seems to have done a terrible job of letting people know what's going on? I mean, Aaron makes an excellent point about the relative job growth relative to other slow periods in history. And when you look at it that way, the Obama administration has done a pretty good job. And yet the perception is the opposite. What's going on? Why are you not getting your message out?
Well, I'm trying. As you know, I report these figures every month. And I think that this is such a large and hard recession that there are some people that are finding an uneasiness out there. There are many people that are afraid that they may lose their job, and those that are working really hard want to make sure that they have a steady income coming in. And it's been somewhat unpredictable. This has been a very, very hard choice for all of us, but we continue to be focused. We think we are on the right path, as you have indicated, and we're going to continue to see more happening. In fact, I want to show you this chart if I can too, where we continue to have monies that are still going to be made available, that are being spent right now on infrastructure projects. So I would just we still have a lot of those good jobs that are still going to be created in industries like renewable energy and also in rail, transportation. And we did see an uppeak in transportation jobs. Those are middle-class jobs. The automobile industry, 55,000 created. That's nothing small to laugh at. Those are good-paying jobs. And remember, there were folks that were saying we shouldn't even make that investment in GM and Chrysler.